is Demystifying Metaverse, presented to you by Zenser Technologies. Welcome again to the Bengal Chamber's 13th edition of Business IT Conclave. We will start with a short video of our sponsor.
This thing right here, it's something amazing. Give it little force, and it gets some speed. Give it purpose, and it gathers velocity. The thing we create to propel businesses forward, to give them the ability to take new shape, adapt to everything. Time, human nature, Mother Nature. Today, an energy company. Tomorrow, one that channels all its energy in selling flowers. Powered by the precision of data and disruptive engineering, Velocity provides change, momentum, bringing about intelligence and agility to cope with ever-changing business landscapes and expectations. Connecting global ambitions with local approaches and digital experiences with human perspectives. It's this velocity that offers a car fleet management company wings and an aerospace engineering giant nimble feet. Or for that matter, it's what eliminates bank holidays in banking. And it's this very velocity that's offering our clients the access to smart connections and the confidence to find fresh directions. But more importantly, the unique ability to outrun the present, to outsmart the future. Come, witness velocity transform the way business is done. Zensar, think velocity.
Thank you for being with us. This session, Demystifying Metaverse, is being moderated by Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee, BFSI Global Delivery Head, Zenser Technologies. And as panelists, we have Dr. Puneet Agarwal, Chief Technology Officer, Zenser Technologies, Mr. Rajesh Duddu, Global Head for Blockchain and Metaverse Practice, Tech Mahindra, Mr. Naveen Manasvi, CEO and Founder, Huawei, Mr. Roberto Hernandez, Chief Innovation Officer, Customer Transformation and Metaverse Leader, PwC US. So with this, I request Mr. Kaushik Chatterjee to please take the session forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angana. So it's a real pleasure to be here with all of you. Very good evening to all of you. Real pleasure to be here for this event. It's it's a fantastic event which is about ensuring that people from business leaders, technology leaders, academia, as well as policymakers are able to interact with each other. And I think it's a real pleasure to be here today. And what's even more exciting, I think, is the topic that we have for discussion here today. So the metaverse, what kind of images conjure up in your mind when you're talking about the metaverse? Is it about Tom Cruise gesturing and moving around screens in the Minority Report, or is it about the Avengers, displaying their superpowers and transcending different universes, or is it an avatar where you have people transcending from one consciousness into another? But the metaverse is not really about science fiction. It's very real. It's here and now. And to hear more about it, to learn more about it, to demystify it, we've got a really esteemed panel of speakers here with us today. And without too much of further ado, I think I will hand it over for a quick round of introductions of our panel. So if I can request in no particular order, Puneet Agarwal to start first.
Thank you, Kaushik. And hello, everyone. I'm so happy and excited talking to you all today on what an interesting topic we have. My name is Puneet, and I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Zensar. My key responsibilities are managing Zen Labs, our applied research center. I'm also responsible for our business in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and blockchain. And as well as the last thing is that I carry an innovation charter for our company, which includes collaboration with startups, academic institutions, etc. And over to you, Kaushik. Very happy on this to be on this panel with other distinguished co-panelists.
Thank you. Thanks, Puneet. Great to have you with us. If I can now request Rajesh Dhudu to go next, please.
Yeah, thank you, Kaushik. Pleasure to connect with all of you. I thought a session like Metaverse can be taken only from Metaverse. So in my background, you will see the Metaverse. I am in the Metaverse of Tech Mahindra. So there is a tech Metaverse environments playing in my background. By way of introduction, I lead blockchain and Metaverse practice, as well as the deep tech practice. I work as a senior vice president with the firm. I'm based out of Hyderabad and very happy to connect with all of you today.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Rajesh. If I can now request Naveen to go next, please.
Naveen, you're speaking on mute.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Kaushik. This is Naveen Manaswi, founder and CEO of Huawei XP Technology. So we are one of the oldest company in this space of Metaverse in India. We launched India's first Metaverse, where we are launching the Metaverse products like Wow Meet, where we can work together in Metaverse, Wow City, where we can collaborate together in a showrooms or event hubs and other activities. I have background. I studied from IIT Kanpur long back and work in AI for a long time. I wrote 2 books on deep learning as well in past. And for last 3 years, I'm working on Metaverse with my team, very talented team based out of Bangalore. So this is a summary of my Metaverse journey. Spent 3 years totally in Metaverse. Happy to share my perspective today in this whole event.
Great. Thanks for that, Naveen. And last but definitely not the least, if I can request Roberto to go next, please.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm Roberto Hernandez. I'm a partner in PricewaterhouseCoopers. I have the privilege of running our Metaverse efforts globally, and I am also the Chief Innovation Officer for our Customer Transformation Group in the US.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Roberto. And so let's all dive right in then. So what really is the metaverse? There are numerous definitions out there, right? And everybody has his or her own take of it. But really, what it essentially boils down to, it's really the next iteration of the internet. It's a medium in which you immerse yourself in, as opposed to the traditional way of viewing it. And it is also a medium where you essentially integrate your digital and your real lives. So really all about immersion, all about real-time interaction. And there are numerous forces which are really contributing to the growth of the internet. There's augmented reality, virtual reality, there's the gaming platforms that are out there, there's blockchain, cryptocurrency. A lot of different drivers getting in there, powering the growth of this of the metaverse. So there are different characteristics of the metaverse, so to speak. So my first question to the panel: which characteristic of the metaverse, or which few characteristics of the metaverse, you think are really game changers or disruptors? Just going in no particular order again, maybe Roberto, if you could start off, please.
Absolutely. So I would say that what is making the metaverse so real and so exciting right now is that we are seeing a combination of different ingredients that are reaching a point in their maturity cycle that is creating the perfect recipe. If we think about what has been happening with technology, we are not talking about the metaverse becoming a new thing in the technology space last year. People like Naveen mentioned that they have been investing a long time in understanding these technologies, connecting them to artificial intelligence. And let's not forget about the number of experiments that large technology companies have been running for years, if not decades, around virtual reality, augmented reality, goggles or glasses of some sort. But what is making it, in my opinion, a game changer is that on top of everything that we have learned from those technologies. We are coming out of the pandemic that really transformed the way in which consumers of all ages have decided to interact with digital platforms. On top of that, you have in multiple geographies, big changes that are happening from a bandwidth standpoint. We are talking about 5G or even 6G in some parts of the world that is making that content available with lower and lower latency to the ultimate consumer. And last but not least, Kaushik, you mentioned blockchain. One of the things that was missing, the question that I get all the time is, well, we have seen these virtual worlds, Roberto, for 10, 20 years. What is different if the graphics look pretty similar? The big difference is that now we have an ecosystem and we have a currency. That doesn't mean that you need to have cryptocurrencies embedded on every single experience, but we have a new way to codify these experiences that makes it possible to combine all the ingredients that I mentioned before.
Okay, Kaushik, for me, very nice point, Roberto. So to add to Roberto, what I feel the game changer in Metaverse is the power of connection. So far the humans are focused mostly on the improvement in the efficiency, right? We think like a machine. We have to be more efficient. That's all. This is the way we develop our society, our digital world, and all, right? Focus on the pixels. We can see, we can talk, then we can see, then we can have video. So then we focus mostly on automation. So our ideas has been all about improving the efficiency. No one thought about the connections. Your human brains, cognitive brains, wants to be in 3D space together. I want to see my friend one side, left side, some friend on the right side. I want to feel connected in a space, in a 3D space. This is our human brains are built. So this metaverse allows our cognitive brain to live in that 3D spatial world. That is the power of connections. I feel more connected to my friends when I see in metaverse together, left side, right side, my behind, my forward. But this is the power. This is a game changer in the metaverse. The power of connections is immense if you see from the angle of the cognitive brains. And the rest part is the technology, right? So we try to use the 3D content, optimize the content, lighting, realistic lighting, ray tracing as well, and then putting in a blockchain to make it more traceable and all. So the rest is the story. But the main thing which I think the game is that it hits our cognitive brains and we feel more connected when we are in metaverse space.
Great point you make there, Naveen, the power of connections. It's really all about the social aspects, isn't it? And as Roberto also mentioned, I think with the pandemic and with some of the shifts that are coming in, absolutely, that's certainly something which is standing out. Rajesh, your thoughts?
Yeah, sure, Kaushik. So I have a slightly different perspective on this particular thing. If you look back at the evolution of the mobile technology from 2G to 3G to 4G, the form and nature of the commerce has changed. With 2G, you had a phone commerce or an IVR commerce. With 3G, you had web commerce. And with 4G, you had an app commerce. Now we are at the point where 5G is coming in. Does it mean the 5G is going to make the app commerce faster? Not necessarily, because the empirical evidence shows that every time there was a generation shift in the communication technology, the nature and the form of commerce itself has changed. So we believe that with 5G and metaverse, we are getting into an environment what we call as meta commerce. And that meta commerce is going to be completely different from the existing commerce. How is it going to be different? Let's look at in terms of the e-commerce. Today, the e-commerce merchants face 85% cart abandonments. Why are they facing 85% cart abandonments? Because it is purely based on statements. It is not based on experience. And now the new class of customers want to buy based on experience and not based on mere statements. And that's what the meta commerce and metaverse is going to bring to the table. An immersive kind of a buying experience, which is completely different from what the consumers have been used to. Because of that, we feel that the web will reclaim its commerce leadership from app. Because in app, the real estate to do immersive selling or immersive buying is very, very limited. And that's where the web is going to reclaim the commerce leadership, because the web gives you an ability to immerse to a lot of extent. And that is metaverse for us. Without commerce, it is just an extended reality, virtual reality, or an augmented reality. What is going to bring in the commerce ability, whether it is a physical good or a digital good, is metaverse. The physical goods are going to come either in the form of a fiat currency or a cryptocurrency, and the physical goods, the digital collectibles as they are called, they're going to be backed up by the underlying blockchain technology from a non-fungible token perspective. And that's how the blockchain piece is going to come into. So it's a representation of your 5G, your AI, your ER, VR, whatever you look at it is, and a blockchain, and then deliver commerce. That's number one. And number two, according to me, metaverse is just not confined to consumer metaverse. There's industrial metaverse, which is also emerging. Now let's look at what's happening. You have organizations which have done IoT, which have done the workloads, migrated the workloads from on-prem to the cloud. So what next? That's where the journey of industrial metaverse starts, wherein you have created a data lake. And with the data lake, you can create a visualization layer. The visualization layer gives superpower to the assets, which you cannot visualize in a physical scenario. And now you can do digital prototyping even before physical prototype is done. You can look at high precision manufacturing industries where the experiments are very, very difficult in live environment and they're more dangerous. You can do it in an industrial metaverse perspective, which brings in single source of truth and also interoperability. So we at TechM see this metaverse in a completely different lens. And the third point, to be immersive, you don't have to have an a headset that has to be strapped around your head. That is virtual reality. But we are talking of a mobile first and a web first kind of a metaverse strategy, which is immersive, like the environment which is playing in my backdrop, right? It is as immersive, may not be like a virtual reality, but it gives you an augmented reality. And that's where it gives you an ability to be immersive without the use of an extra headset. And that's how I see it. And that's how we see it. Back to you, Kaushik.
Thanks for that, Rajesh. So meta commerce, essentially driving immersive buying and selling experience, industrial metaverse, and then not really all about headsets, right? It's the overall immersive experience.
Exactly.
That's great. Puneet, your thoughts?
I think Kaushik, other panelists have already summarized their views. I would largely agree with all of them, but I'll try to give a simple perspective. I believe there are three important forces of metaverse: experience, social, like Naveen was also saying, and the meta commerce type of things that Rajesh was talking about, and payments. I think they are the ones which will drive the whole adoption for metaverse. Experience as in, we compare to 2D experiences rendered by websites such as net banking, e-commerce, is now getting into 3D experiences and immersive experience and via virtual reality and things like that. People are reimagining this e-commerce, because in the new world, we would also be able to visualize what we are buying before we buy, right? That's the whole experience, user experience will be very different. And there is an important trend that we need to all observe, that the millennials who have started joining the industry now, people who are born after 2000, and they are bringing a fresh air into the system when they are born up with playing with these technologies, right? When they become part of the industry, they're expected to drive this a lot more. The second, I would say, like I said, social. Again, unlike Web 2.0, where we do the shopping on Amazon or Myntra separately, we do our social interactions separately via WhatsApp, Discord, etc. But now these channels are coming together, like Naveen was saying, the social part of it. And we could, just like we do shopping in real world, we will be able to do that kind of shopping with our friends when friends are sitting in their own home. Things will change, right? So that's the social angle to it, and that's I think very, very important force. And third, the whole e-commerce thing will succeed only when there is payment, right? Ease of making payments for purchases from within the metaverse will become essential fuel for the entire industry for metaverse. And this is giving rise to many new startups. Look at companies like Sokin, many others are trying to bring payments across all metaverse environments, whether it's one currency or crypto or stable current coins and everything. Right? So that's in summary, like I said, experience, social, and payments. That's how we look at it, Kaushik.
That's great. That's great. Thanks, Puneet. And you bring something close to my heart. I head the financial services vertical at Zensar, and hearing about payments and the potential that the metaverse has, definitely really exciting. Which brings me to my next question. We so many possibilities, but some of you have kind of alluded to this a little bit, but personally, to each one of you, which is the industry where you think which really fascinates you, or which personally excites you with respect to the potential disruption that the metaverse could cause? Anything that you'd like to call out? Any specific industry that you think would be disproportionately disrupted, or something that you think can really, the metaverse can really be a game changer there? Naveen,
You can start.
Nice question. Nice question. Can I answer now?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay. I can see three things can hit very fast. Okay, although I can feel almost all industry will be hit very soon, but in order, I feel first thing happens in the connection game. Like remote working is a culture now, mostly in IT industry. People want flexibility. They want to work from anywhere. So, and the team meeting and Zoom meeting and all meeting fail to create the connections. I can see you, but there are no connections. I don't feel connected. This is a reality. It's a cognitive brain says that. Let's be honest. So, but once you are in a metaverse, you feel that yes, Puneet is my left side. I can see him. I can handshake him. I can see Roberto right side. I can see Rajesh there, and I can write also on a whiteboard. So I can feel that we are in the same office or same nice place, and we are talking to each other. We can handshaking. We are just saying hello. We are writing on a board. We can move also in a space as if it's a real space as well. And that's where I think the human brain would like to enjoy the most. I feel personally, because that there our heart lies in. Okay, and once we do that, we can work together there. We can go to the mall together. We can go to event together. The game starts from that point. That is the one thing. Second thing, I feel also the gaming part. So the gaming part also, because if you play in VR mode, you will stop playing in the normal laptop. The reality is so immersive, so engaging. The gamers would love to be in VR mode once they start enjoying the VR. Right now, people stick to only laptops, gaming laptop as well. So now there's a chance of attracting a lot of gamers in this space in a new kind of paradigm. And third thing, I can feel that the event companies, fashion companies will attract the huge crowd, because event company, they want to, suppose I am a star and I can only bring a 5K crowd in an auditorium or some kind of showroom, right? Some kind of event premise and all. So we cannot expect 1 lakh guy, because we can't accommodate in the premise. But in the metaverse, we can accommodate. We can really create a place. Shahrukh Khan can be dancing in his room. We can make it live, and the whole 1 lakh, 10 lakh guy can see runtime, either in the room or in the new space. Although 5G is required in this game, but that is going to be a big game, by the way. And also like fashion, like all of fashion, because fashion attracts the millennials, young guys. They would like to enjoy this thing too. So for me, this thing are the very hot zones where the game starts, and eventually it'll go to the manufacturing and the healthcare. It goes a little late because those guys are not a fast decision makers. They are slow in decision making work and all. They will have a lot of compliance issue. There are a lot of issue in the compliance and all those things and all. So this thing will take up a little late. But the first thing is the collaborations, okay, mechanism, meeting together, gaming together, okay, enjoying the fashion. So this is our perspective, which we develop over 3 years time. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Naveen. Rajesh, your thoughts?
I think there won't be a single industry that will be left untouched by metaverse. It'll be, every aspect that we are aware will be completely disrupted and will be completely transformed. If you think about e-commerce, we are of the opinion, or rather I'm of the opinion, that every website is going to be a metaverse destination. That's how it is going to change. How does it going to act in different areas? Obviously, the future of learning is going to change. It will become a lot more gamified, a lot more collaborative. And the good thing is the learning will also become a lot more accessible. For example, we launched a learning village in Meta, the first village in India to learn through the metaverse. That is what we did 60 kilometers away from Pune, where we donated Roblox devices. And 60 kids go to the school every day in metaverse. That's how the learning is going to be disrupted. A lot of disruption is going to happen in the field of medicine, healthcare, how the care is going to be delivered. It is going to be disrupted. Obviously, the right candidates are media and entertainment, in terms of the music industry or the gaming industry, as Naveen had said. So I think every industry that we have known till date will be transformed by metaverse. It'll be very difficult to single out and say, these are the 3 areas which will be impacted and these are the 3 areas that won't be impacted. I think there will be 0 areas that won't be impacted.
So the consumer-focused ones are probably the early adopters, but then eventually all industries would get disrupted.
We are seeing a good adoption from not only in the consumer side, on a B2B side. Look at what BMW has done in terms of creating the factory of future in metaverse. Volvo has programmed a DigiCar in metaverse. Ericsson has done rollout of 5G testing in metaverse. Siemens is now considering design in metaverse. There are wind energy farms in Korea, which have been programmed first in metaverse and then they have been rolled out. So it's not just the consumer. Industrial is also being impacted. It's just that it doesn't get reported as much. The consumer vertical gets reported.
Sure. Puneet, what are your views?
I Kaushik, completely agree with what Rajesh said. I also believe that fashion, e-commerce, retail, finance, manufacturing, they're all primarily being talked about a lot, but no sector will remain untouched, right? Look at a very recent, earlier this week, the article that was published in Live Mint, where our group chairman, Mr. Harsh Goenka, who's the chairman at RPG Enterprises, was featured in, and how he talked about group companies such as Seat Tires, a tire company, right? For example, even a KEC, which is a construction company, how they are getting how they are adopting metaverse is worth looking at that article. I think I'll encourage everybody. And so all I want to say is, let's not underestimate the adoption of metaverse by any industry. But a direct answer to your question, Kaushik, my top 3 picks will be e-commerce, bank. I know you like bank, and the hybrid workplace, like Naveen said, are my top 3 picks. But on a lighter note, let me also share a very interesting thing that I've been hearing about, is the talk about immortalization of our homes, our ancestral homes, and for our elderly people, right? We create a 3D avatar of theirs and the house. We can always we shift out from our homes sometimes, and we carry some sweet memories. Can we immortalize them? There are possibilities galore, is all I will say.
Brings a totally different meaning to bringing ghosts to life. Roberto, any particular favorite of yours in terms of where you are really interested and where you'd like to see more of the discussion?
So I'll tell you what are the 2 areas that I think are going to be impacted the most, and then I'll tell you my favorite. So I would start with everything that touches collaboration and education. And that doesn't mean just the school component and the traditional education component, but think about, you mentioned financial services. Think about how most consumers get their education today from banks around the world. Banks continue to pretend that people are going to be consuming content that gets published on boring websites that no one is looking at. And that's why study after study is showing that more and more millennials and Gen Zers are getting financial advice or financial information in general from TikTok celebrities, which is a huge missed opportunity for these companies. What you can do with the metaverse is connect with these audiences in an immersive way, as several of my fellow panelists are talking about, on really immersing that customer into a different level of education. The same thing is going to apply at any single business around the world, regardless of whether we have companies that are going to be having staff that is going to be working remote 100% of the time, hybrid ways of work, or working in the office. We are looking very candidly for an experience that is better than the experience that we are having on a webcast like this. I don't know about you, but we are getting all increasingly tired about just watching people on tiny squares. But we appreciate the collaboration that this technology allows us, from being able to connect all over the world with people that are remote, people that are in places that we might not be able to travel to physically from time to time. This is not about replacing the beauty of the in-person connections, but it's about complementing that. So that's why I'm a big believer that anything that requires collaboration and education is going to be fundamentally changing. It can also touch consumer products, because collaboration is going to be important there as well. When we go shopping, one of the things that we have given away as part of this digitization journey is that if I want to bring a friend to come shop with me and provide me with an opinion, how does it work today in a digital world? I need to send him or her pictures of whatever I want to buy. With this technology, I'm going to be able to invite them to be into the experience and say, let's look at this house, let's look at this car, let's look at this sweater that I want to buy, and it's going to change it in a big way. And I'll tell you my favorite, just really briefly. I don't know where this is going to go, but, and Rajesh was mentioning healthcare a little bit. I have started to see some use cases related to companionship. And even one amazing trial that a company in Massachusetts is now running, where they believe that they are going to be able to utilize virtual reality technology and an immersive experience to reduce pain management in a way that could even reduce the reliance on medication. When you think about that, I get really, really excited, because we are talking about changing people's lives, not only getting them more immersed in a more entertaining experience.
I think that would really be a very significant impact indeed. Yeah, absolutely. And you make a great point. It's not about replacing the experiences, it's about complementing it, isn't it?
Exactly.
So I think, having heard all of you, fantastic potential, right? Immense potential. And on that note, I was reading a report the other day where this was a McKinsey report, which was talking about, the metaverse being potentially a $5 trillion opportunity by 2030. Now, that's immense. That's massive. How much of this is hype and how much of this is reality? There's great potential, no doubt about it. But do you think this potential will be realized?
So I can briefly start. Yeah. Is there a fair amount of hype? Absolutely. And the reality is that there are companies that are doing amazing things and are approaching this the right way. But there are also a number of people that are jumping into the opportunistic bandwagon. And that level of hype is growing even more lately. I had an opportunity to be at a conference last weekend, the Metaverse Summit, and I could tell that the people presenting were in two camps. Very candidly, there were people that understood what this topic was about, that had good ideas, a good plan in place, and others that were startups that are failing, connected to cryptocurrencies, that all of a sudden are talking that Bitcoin is the only way in which you can play in the metaverse, which is completely inaccurate. So it is really, really important for anyone that is listening to this to separate the truth from the hype, but to make sure that they don't confuse that hype with this technology and what we are calling the metaverse not becoming a fundamental change in the way that we are going to be buying things, interacting with each other, because that's here to stay, and it's going to continue to move really, really fast. But there's absolutely a fair amount of hype out there.
Thanks for that. So it's a little bit about distilling the hype from the reality that's out there. Yeah, Naveen.
Yeah, I think $5 trillion is understatement, I can say. I think the McKinsey report could not understand the importance of 5G game. Once 5G takes up, people can really think new avenues of making money. I think I don't say McKinsey is the best guy to judge about metaverse. Once 5G comes in a big way, there are immense opportunity and no one can see right now. I can see you can really change whole life. The way you interact, the way you talk to your family, your friends, you play with your friends, you change, you work with your colleagues, everything will change. You see the cinema, you see your celebrity, everything will be changed. Instagram, everything will be metaversed eventually. I can see 5 trillion is an understatement in one line. It is a much bigger game. 5G and the better devices are just one stumbling blocks. Once we cross this border, cross this issue, I think we are much bigger number. I expect $10 trillion roughly by 2030.
Fantastic. So 5 trillion is an understatement, and the potential is much more than that. More power to you, Naveen. Puneet, your thoughts?
Very interesting views I see so far. Roberto is saying there is hype, and Naveen is saying 5 trillion is an understatement. Just to put things into perspective, right? What is 5 trillion? That's Japan's GDP today, the third largest economy as per this year's thing. So just trying to put the number into perspective, right? It's a very large number. And I remember similar predictions were being made about artificial intelligence some 5-7 years ago. They were far lower than 5 trillion. Right? So it's a very big number. Let's first understand that point. Do I agree with Roberto or Naveen? I'm somewhere in between. I think the number is somewhere in the realistic number. But yes, look at it like this. If we were to rebuild significant part of internet, right, this is not wrong. If we were to bring new technologies, the 5G, the way Naveen is saying, and I largely agree with what he is making, this prediction is not wrong. So it is going to change the way of life significantly. And I personally believe that, it will be a huge, huge movement going forward.
Awesome. Yeah. Rajesh?
Yeah, in terms of, if you look at any particular technology, hype has been an integral aspect of the evolution of the technology, right? You can blame it on the Gartner analysts about the hype cycle and stuff like that. So now let's understand where is the hype coming from and why the hype has been created and what are the practical aspects. If you look at force-fitting a technology without any business outcome, that's where the hype starts building up, right? In terms of everybody is now saying, earlier the predictions were saying that, everybody will strap a headset around, they will integrate equipment into your body, haptics, sensors, devices, etc. As I said before, to experience metaverse, you don't need any of that stuff. You can do it on a web first and a mobile first kind of a strategy. And that's where the hype started building up from the device manufacturer's perspective, number one. Number two, the hype also comes in when you start pushing the frontiers of the technology more than what it can accommodate. A good example is even today, you cannot do a multiplayer environment in metaverse. Moment you start doing a multiplayer environment in metaverse, the WebSockets get choked, the avatar doesn't get streamed properly. There is a challenge with pixel streaming and various other things. That's why the Unreal environments, the environment where I'm sitting in for this particular conference, it's an Unreal environment. It works beautifully well for a single party or few multi-party kind of use cases. But moment you scale up those multi-parties and then scale it up exponentially, it doesn't work. That's why you have more of cartoonish kind of environments today on Unity, because they are more conducive on an existing technology rather than an unreal kind of an environment, because the WebSocket's just not geared to facilitate that kind of a pixel streaming. That's where the friction points get built up, and that's where the hype gets built up. So once you segregate this out and then look at perceptible business outcomes, good use cases, whether it is a consumer metaverse or an industrial metaverse, then the numbers that everybody is talking about, 5 trillion, 10 trillion, or whatever it is, are going to come out true. And there are some lead indicators. You look at the Crown Prince of Dubai. The Dubai Crown Prince is now saying blockchain was the savior for them 2 to 3 years ago. They've changed their narrative, and now they are saying, the Crown Prince is saying metaverse is the savior. Wherein he's estimating about 40,000 job addition to the Dubai's economy and $5 billion to be added to Dubai. Look at what the Neom guys are doing in Saudi Arabia. They're building a cognitive city by pumping about $1 trillion in terms of building a city. And of that, the virtualization and 3D is an as important element of a city like a physical rendition of the city. So when you start putting use cases of this particular nature, then hype component goes down and the reality component gets maximized.
Sure. So
I think, don't mind, can I add something, Rajesh? I think what
Absolutely,
you talk about
Please go ahead.
mostly true for the way metaverse. I think so. You stick to metaverse. VR metaverse is much more mature in terms of multiplayer and all. So I think you should give a new kind of angle on all this metaverse. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. So getting the technical infrastructure right, getting the enabling support system right, and focusing on the business outcomes. So which brings me to the next question. I mean, we've got the panel, representing different nature of organizations that you're working for. So what are some of the things that you are focusing on within your organizations? So if I can start with Naveen.
Yeah, nice. See, I told you that I see from psychology perspective also. So I am techie guy, working in AI for a long time, and I discuss. I'm totally tech free guy. But when I realize that how humans think and what can excite humans, how we can really engage them in the adoption and all. So example, let me differentiate. An example like manufacturing guy, a typical guy from manufacturing background, they think very slow, they will adopt things very slowly, very conservative, very safe. So they will say something, they will adopt after 12 months, 24 months, because they are very slow as per the nature, per the background of the work and all. Like now, new IT guys, new IT workers, new IT skilled workers and all, they are more like flexible. They build skill very fast, digital marketing, this, that, and all. They want to be flexible. They want to enjoy Goa and want to work from Goa or Maldives. So this is the new trend coming in the market right now. So I feel personally, the collaborations game can be much bigger. Here the game starts, and whatever happens in collaboration mode is awesome. As Rajesh told, I think Rajesh talk is mostly limited to the web metaverse. In the web metaverse, the socket game is highly constrained by many technologies. So multiplayer game doesn't work nicely. But in VR, multiplayer game, multiplayer things happen very smartly, by the way. They no big bug at all. I think so. There no big issue at all. All about like people should start using the device, that's all. That is the only one barrier. The collaborations game can be the game changer. Yeah, you can work together, play chess together, spend time with your family, your friends, your colleagues, work together or play together, play the table tennis together, no matter the friend lives in Japan or US, whatever. So I think collaboration game can be the biggest game changer in the whole adoption. And then slowly go to the e-commerce side and then the other parts, basically.
Sure. And I'm also looking at some of the questions coming up on the chat, and just wanted to, somebody talks about, can we see a snippet of the metaverse? So any of you feel free to please.
I would like to look. So yeah. So
metaverse
we're building for.
The backdrop that is playing in the background
That's one of them.
is the snippet. It's been playing for the last 40 minutes. So that is the snippet of metaverse.
So you've already got us immersed, Rajesh.
Okay. Let me just give you the overview of how metaverse look like. Okay, just one second. I just okay. Can someone? Okay, okay. One second. Give me 1 second. I just okay. I will explain to you what I'm going to show right now. I'm going to show you new stuff that is called Metaverse City. Second is the Warmit. Warmit is a product where we want to give the collaboration environment. Example I show right now. So example, you can work together in an office environment. You can give your employee freedom to work from home, and they can join at 9:30 a.m. They can join. They can feel that they come to the same office. Same office. They can see that my colleagues in left side, right side. They can be in the same kind of office environment. They can whiteboard. They can write on a whiteboard. They can also explain on PPT as well. So we have a power. We feel like we are now teleported to the new office. Okay, everyone, no matter people belong to the Japan or US or Chennai or Bangalore, they all go to the same space. They can work together. Whiteboard is there. There is a PPT showing also. You can also place 3D content as well on a table as well. There's an extra thing. Now you feel every day you can employee can work from Goa or Maldives. They your device, join the app, and be in the office and work together, have a meeting for 30 minutes, 1 hour, and then sign out. So whenever they want to meet together, work together, they can just go join, sign in, and just be there and feel like you are in the office. You can see the office, you can see your Ramesh, you can see this Rajesh and all. You can walk around the space as well. So I can show you the glimpse how it look like. This is the city. This is the two things I will show you right now. One is the Warmit. So there are two person. One person, suppose Chennai, one in Bangalore. They feel they are in the same office now. They're in the same office right now. They can say hello. They can go close to each other. They can write on a whiteboard as well, and I can see that there can be 100 guys in the room. We can showcase any kind of PPT as well, PPTs and all. So
Awesome. I think great example of collaboration that you're showing in an immersive manner. Thanks for that, Naveen.
okay.
So just moving around, maybe Puneet, anything that you are doing, anything that you'd like to show?
Definitely.
Can I show one more thing? That's all. Just one more stuff. Can I show one thing? The
Yeah,
Wow City.
quickly, please.
Just yeah. Wow City. Just 1 second. Just Wow City. So Wow City, where you can have a complete city is there. You can have a showroom. You can have a event hubs. You can enjoy the whole city as if the real city. It's like Bangalore is one city. So we build our own Wow City where you can go there, go to the event hubs, go to the showrooms, go to the different points and all, and you can bring your friends there also. You can bring your friends there. You can bring your colleagues there. So complete environment is there, and as if it's a new city, going together with your friends, spend time and come back anytime. There are no rules. You can go at 12 night, 1 o'clock night also. Enjoy the towers, event hubs, showrooms, classes, and we are trying to pitch to the Dubai government directly this one.
I was just going to say, looks a lot like Dubai. Thanks
Yeah.
for that, Naveen.
Thank you.
Puneet, quickly.
Yeah, thank you.
Just conscious of the time, we'll probably have to make this a little quicker.
Right. So I'll just summarize very quickly some 5 key offerings that we've rolled out for our customers. First one, very much aligned with what Roberto said, building consumer spaces, whether it is net banking, e-commerce, workplaces, etc. The second one is digital twin. Very interesting concept, how metaverse will drive the digital twin, right? Whether it is a manufacturing floor that you want to see what's happening, business KPIs, walking into a virtual store, virtual manufacturing plant, or a mine, which is sometimes 10 kilometers deep into the earth, right? Too hard to go there. Can you observe what's happening from the surface of the earth? Virtual events, not only marriage parties, right? Trainings, conferences, even panel discussion like this can happen on virtual this thing. Payments, I already talked about it. In the interest of time, I'll skip it. And the fifth one is very, very interesting service line that we've started in Zensar. You know, starting with DevOps, we got into DevSecOps, and then finally into MLOps. How will the 3D models be managed? Their versions, deployment in is etc. Right, on these 3D spaces, right? So we're calling it as Metaverse Ops, and that also is emerging to be a very interesting offering. With that, let me just give you, since you asked for a glimpse of how the metaverse looks like, I'm going to show you something what we have done in Zensar. So something similar to what others are talking about. I hope you can see my screen. So I'll give you a 10-20 second view of how a metaverse looks like. I hope you can see my screen. This is our office. This is our actual real office, by the way. This is where we sit, our ZenLab people sit. And we modeled it. We can interact with people, do various things, etc. So you got a glimpse of. I'll just stop sharing. People wanted just a glimpse, so I'll cut it short. Kaushik, back to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for that. And Roberto, you are the Chief Innovation Officer. Any innovations that you are working on?
Well, right now, what we are spending a lot of time doing is really leading by example and testing a lot of these technologies. There are now a multitude of metaverse spaces. The speakers mentioned before have a combination. I believe that there's some background noise. If you can read your mind, please. So we have the different mediums that we use to access the content. You have virtual reality, augmented reality. So we are testing what does this mean from an adoption standpoint. We just launched about 3 weeks ago our global metaverse campus that is for collaboration on a platform that is similar to what the other panelists showed. And what we are now testing is, well, how do we combine the 2D component with virtual reality? Do we want for certain elements of the brainstorming session, when we need to do some whiteboarding and manipulate sticky notes and things like that, is that when we incorporate virtual reality? And given the weight and the heat of the devices right now, how long people can tolerate? So we are studying a lot of that. And obviously, working with a number of clients and saying, well, now that you have a successful pilot from an experience standpoint, how are you going to take it to the next level? Are you going to stay with just the experience from a branding standpoint, or are you going to start trying to sell products and services through this channel, even if it is early days?
That's exciting. That's really exciting. And Rajesh, you already immersed us, with your backdrop. Just very quickly, anything specific that you want to add?
In addition to all the fellow panelists have said, Puneet, Naveen, and Roberto, we are also looking at in terms of how do you create a web interface where you convert a 2D into a 3D environment. Today there are advancements in technology called as neural radiance fields, nerves, where you can take a 2D set of 2D photos and let the algorithm write the rest of the story, which gets rendered in a video format. We are also working on what we call as the generative adversarial networks, the GANs, which are going to generate in terms of whether it is a meta human or a meta feature, or it can also help us to generate a fake from a true set of statements, and then how do you identify deep fakes and stuff like that. We're working on those components. We also do a lot of stuff in allied metaverse areas. Metaverse is not just about content or creator economy. Metaverse is about content management. Metaverse is about content moderation. Metaverse is about device engineering, device optimization. So we're doing a lot of stuff in the allied areas of metaverse both in consumer as well as industrial metaverse.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's so. Just listening to all of you, there's some fantastic work going on. There's great potential. We spoke about that, and there's a huge impact that can be made. However, having said that, there's also there are also certain risks, right, that stand out. Increasingly, I think in a digital world, there's concern about privacy. There's concern about identity. There's concern about data security. And what about regulations? If something goes wrong, what's the regulation that is going to protect people? So just wanted to quickly hear from all of you. Do you think we are there yet? Do you think a lot more has to be done? What are your views on that?
Okay, I think there are two set. One is security, second is the ethical practice, ethical protocols. So we also work on the ideas. As last question, I think I just missed to answer it. We also work on the deep learning, because this is my background. I wrote also a book on GAN. So we also work on deep learning, where we're trying to convert a 2D into 3D by 3D reconstructions, creating the 3D tracking of the body, of human body, and putting in the avatar directly runtime. Okay, and also working on the metaversity and this one. Okay, now this question right now. Sorry, what you asked? Sorry, what is the question right now? Okay, the two ethical protocols is
ethical
one. Yeah,
aspects and
the one in metaverse
compliance.
is ethical protocols. Like suppose, like someone is putting the middle finger in the classroom in metaverse. This is wrong, right? So we are right now listing down the ethical protocols, right? Like in the classroom, when you go to the mall, how to behave with a salesperson and all. So like middle finger, we can block the someone put the middle finger, we block runtime. We give the power to the admin. He can block the guy. He can disappear. Make him disappear runtime. So we are trying to create list down the protocols, ethical protocols, where we can give the power to admin to make them disappear runtime. That is one. Second part is data security. That is as good as the Web 2 cloud-based services. All the cloud data privacy issue is as good as the privacy issue in the past Web 2 system also. So the way AWS is managing, the cloud is managing, so we are safe in that way. We're managing the data privacy anyway. So that is intact. If the old technology, old way data was safe, now also data is very safe, because we have a same backend, by the way. Then there's no new backend, the same cloud, same thing and all. Only issue I think is remaining is the ethical, because now we are just, our gestures are noticed now. We are moving our hands, moving our leg, moving our face and all. So only ethical protocols are additional in this metaverse game, that we will list down and give the power to admin to make someone disappear based on the discipline and all.
Sure. So you think security is covered, but it's the ethical aspects that we'll have to focus on. Roberto, your thoughts?
So I would say that we are clearly at the beginning of what is going to be a fundamental change in the way in which we interact with each other and we conduct business. There are still a lot of unknowns. I think that a lot of the focus right now has been on the technology and the experience, and those, of course, are critically important. But I think that organizations, and that's an area where we are helping a number of companies with, need to start thinking more about the ethical implications, the risk management protocols, cybersecurity, privacy. How are we going to be analyzing all the data that we are going to have access to as a result of this amazing technology? And ultimately, how does this connect to the strategic objectives that different organizations have? I have seen company after company that get excited about doing something in the metaverse. And then they start asking the question, but well, what do we want to do? Do we want to connect to a new audience? Is this just marketing? Are we going to be offering products? So it is important that those discussions happen early instead of waiting until you have deployed something for a year or two.
Sure. Thanks, Roberto. So still work to be done there. Rajesh?
I think a lot of legal jurisdiction and framework need to evolve around this particular thing. There's a lot of things that are still not clear. Many gray spaces, whether it regards to ownership of digital assets, the payment of digital assets, and various other things. In addition to that, it also bring up a lot of the conscience and health related things. For example, try to put a headset around for 10 minutes, your entire head starts spinning. Only a game maniac will be able to put it for more than 10 minutes, but beyond 10 minutes it'll start spinning and stuff like that. And there are various other now how do you consider in terms of bullying? You needn't be bullied, but your avatar may be bullied, your avatar may be shamed in metaverse. So there are many interesting aspects that keep coming up. And since we do a lot of content moderation for the global players in metaverse, we are seeing a lot of emerging challenges, and there is a very thin line between what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. So those are the things which are going to prop up quite a bit from a perspective of what is good to do, what is not good to do, what is ethical, what is unethical. So those are the things that will have a lot of things to be addressed as we go forward. I think we can sort out the technology related aspects, but the human conscience revolving around the technology aspects where it becomes a little challenging, and there is no established code of practice at this point of time. Until and unless that code of practice evolves, these aspects will remain as sticky issues, and they will be there they will be there to surmount for a long time if the code of practice doesn't get established.
Sure. No, that's a great point. I think establish the code of practices, ethical and legal framework. Finally, Puneet, do you agree? Do you think there's still some work to be done around the ethical framework that has to be established to govern this?
Yes, Kaushik. Largely, I see this as a tremendous opportunities for those youngsters who want to do a new startup. Phenomenal possibilities and use cases will emerge in these three spaces, like you said: privacy, data security, and regulatory compliance. There, explicit bullying, like was being talked about, is easier to track, but implicit one, right? Like the one example that Naveen was taking on showing middle finger, right? Even look at this, millennials, they are born with playing these games. When I meet some of them, they tell me they, more than playing the games, they enjoy creating one. Right? So look at the mentality, the whole mindset that they come up with. Their mindset is to create. Now, how do you regulate all that? That what kind of color should they use? Right? What is ethical, what is unethical, right? Everything passes a message to them. So it's going to be ripe opportunity for many people. A lot of innovation is needed in these aspects. But I'm not worried. We all have learned in social media, so many regulations, guidelines have come up now, and laws and regulations have come in every country, right? Likewise, I think the world will react to the technology and things will fall into place.
Thank you. Thanks for that. So I'm sure, this could go on and on. This is such an exciting topic, and it was really a pleasure to have all of you. Thank you so much for all your time, your insights. I think it's safe to say this is a fantastic new world opening up. There's already great progress that has happened, and we're really all set to embark on our journey on the metaverse. Back to you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Pleasure is ours.
Thank you, Kaushik,
Thanks for moderating.
Rajesh, Roberto, Puneet, Angana. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Kaushik, Puneet, Rajesh, Naveen, and Roberto. I thoroughly enjoyed the session. I believe audience did too. And apologize for the delay in the session. We are running 10 minutes back, and we could start the session also, the earlier session after 5 minutes of its scheduled time. So we will close this session here. The next session, as I think a very logical narration to the program after Metaverse, and this would be the concluding session, we will focus on future of cybersecurity, opportunities and pitfalls. With this, we close the session on Metaverse here, and we'll start the session on security in just 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.